Okay, not too bad according to the situation. Anyway, so we should feel very fortunate because we have a precious human rebirth. We are alive. Okay, we have met the Buddha Dharma, and this means that on this support, we can create the cause. We have opportunity again today to create the cause of many causes of great happiness for the future, and also we have the opportunity to progress along the path toward liberation and enlightenment, and completely eliminate all the cause of suffering from our mind. Okay, so we should feel very fortunate. But of course, this situation will not last for long. Okay, will not last forever. Okay, we have to die because we are born, being impermanent phenomena. We have to cease at some point, and we should think about the nature of future experience, and we should understand that everything that the mind experiences, this being a result. Okay, this experience, this five aggregate, all of these appearances and experience that we have, this is the result of action created in the past. So we should wonder what kind of experience the mind is going to experience in the future, and we should understand that most of the time our mind is under the sway of mental afflictions, and therefore the actions are non-virtuous. And also there is the self-cherishing mind, also that which is a big obstacle for us to create the cause of happiness in the future. So there's great probability for us to experience difficult situation in the future. So we should see in the Buddha, Dharma, and the Sangha a perfect refuge to shelter us from the difficult experience in the future. So we should see that we should understand that by following, the guidelines, the teachings of the Buddha, then we can put ourselves in contact with happiness, okay, in the future. Nevertheless, in terms of happiness, we should understand that the mere experience of temporary good circumstances in cyclic existence is extremely limited, because it is impermanent. We do not pass beyond the karma and affliction, and we do not pass beyond ignorance. Okay, so therefore we still all the existence, all the experience are still not under our own control. Okay, so and we can see that even though we have obtained high type of rebirth, nevertheless it is very unsatisfactory. We do not pass beyond suffering. It is imperfect. There is always we are always unsatisfied. Our mind is always unhappy, and there is a physical and physical suffering overall. So it is very unsatisfactory. So we should understand that the nature of the mind is pure. The mental afflictions, that those distortions, they do not penetrate the reality of the mind. And if we apply the right path, the true path, and understand the reality of our mind and of all phenomena, then we can pass beyond ignorance and cyclic existence and achieve a state of mind which is thoroughly pacified, and where happiness is unconditioned. It comes as a natural expression of the mere functioning of the mind, which is in tune with reality. Okay, so that is nirvana, that is liberation. But this also, we should understand the limited character, the limited attribute of this type of experience, even so it is something that we have to long for, okay, by taking into consideration all sentient beings. Because if we achieve this individual liberation, then at the time of the achieving, okay, there is interruption from our side, there is interruption of benefiting others, simply because the mind is absorbed into this sphere of great bliss and pacification, and there is no emergence from that state before a very long time. Okay, so we should understand that if the wisdom side, okay, the wisdom side of the path, which understand the reality, it is sustained by great compassion, by bodhicitta, and by the activity of the sixth perfection. Okay, the great wave of the bodhisattva's activities. Then another type of nirvana is achieved. It is called the non-abiding nirvana, which is a state, the Buddha state, where all the obscurations have been eliminated from the mind, and where spontaneously the mind is able to achieve, to accomplish the benefit of others. Okay, so that should be our main objective. Anyway, those texts belonging to the Mahayana, we should have a motivation which is in tune with the level of the teachings. Therefore, we should think, that through the effort in hearing, reflecting, meditating, and putting into practice what we have understood, may I achieve the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. Okay, so that should be our motivation. And with this motivation, maybe we can read the Heart Sutra together. And usually it is done for two purposes. The one purpose is to put the imprint of the view of reality in our mind, to put an imprint of the wisdom, understanding emptiness, and the other is to pacify obstacles, and the main obstacles they want to pacify is our wrong conception and or superimposing mind. Okay, so that maybe we can read. Yeah. It's not coming. Thank you.
Sorry. I prostrate to the Arya triple gem. Thus did I hear at one time. The Bhagwan was dwelling on mass of vultures mountain in Rajgir, together with a great community of monks and a great community of bodhisattvas. At that time, the Bhagwan was absorbed in the concentration on the categories of phenomena called profound perception. Also at that time, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara looked upon the very practice of the profound perfection of wisdom and beheld those five aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Then through the power of Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra said this to the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara. How should any son of the lineage train who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom? He said that, and the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara said this to the Venerable Sharadvati Putra. Shariputra, any son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom should look upon it like this, correctly and repeatedly beholding those five aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Form is empty, emptiness is form, emptiness is not other than form, form is also not other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discrimination, compositional factors, and consciousness are empty. Shariputra, likewise, all phenomena are emptiness without characteristic, unproduced, unseized, stainless, not without stain, not deficient, not fulfilled. Shariputra, therefore in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no compositional factors, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind. No visual form, no sound, no odor, no taste, no object of touch, and no phenomena. There is no I element, and so on, up to and including no mind element and no mental consciousness element. There is no ignorance, no extinction of ignorance, and so on, up to and including no aging and death, and no extinction of aging and death. Similarly, there is no suffering, origination, cessation, and path. There is no exalted wisdom, no attainment, and also no non-attainment. Shariputra, therefore, because there is no attainment, bodhisattvas rely on and dwell in the perfection of wisdom, the mind without obscuration and without fear. Having completely passed beyond error, they reach the endpoint of nirvana. All the Buddhas who dwell in the three times also manifestly completely awaken to the unsurpassable, perfect, and complete enlightenment in reliance on the perfection of wisdom. Therefore, the mantra of the perfection of wisdom, the mantra of great knowledge, the unsurpassed mantra, the mantra equal to the unequaled, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering, should be known as truth since it is not false. The mantra of the perfection of wisdom is declared, Tayata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhi Swaha. Shariputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, should train in the profound perfection of wisdom like that. Then the Bhagavan arose from that concentration and commended the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Lokiteshvara, saying, well said, son of the lineage. It is like that, it is like that. One should practice the profound perfection of wisdom, just as you have indicated. Even the Tathagatas rejoice. The Bhagwan, having thus spoken, the Venerable Shadadvati Putra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Lokiteshvara, and those surrounding in the entirety, along with the world of gods, humans, asuras, and Gandharvas, were overjoyed and highly praised that spoken by the Bhagwan.
Thank you. Okay, so we are looking at the Song of Experience, which is the short lam-rim, the shortest lam-rim composed by Lama Tsong Khapa. Okay, and we have seen that the stages of the past, the essence of the Prajnaparamita is contained into this text, and have been organized in a progressive method for ripening the mind, and the training is divided in terms of the three scopes. Okay, where slowly the mind, the wisdom grow into the consciousness, the mental continuum of that person, and first one start to understand the continuity of the mind and the preciousness of this opportunity, and therefore developed some kind of desire to be in tune, to be in contact with happiness in the future. Okay, and this is the first scope. And then we have the second scope that we are going to start today. Okay, where the person understand even the nature, the nature of fortunate rebirth. It is rotten. Okay, at the root, it is unsatisfactory. It is in the nature of suffering, and therefore a wish for the state of a complete emancipation from the cyclic existence. And then finally, the third scope, where the person, the beings in this continuum is profoundly, deeply transformed by great compassion, and he desire not to only eliminate the continuum of his the suffering from his own continuum, but to eliminate the suffering in general, and he assume that responsibility. And for that, he needs to achieve the highest potential of his mind, which is the state of Buddha, which corresponds to the two purifications. So in the state of Buddha, in Tibetan, it is Sang Gye. We have two roots, Sang Gye. Sang means purified, okay? It means purified. So the mind is pure, it's purified from the two obscuration, okay? The afflictive obscuration and the cognitive obscuration. And the Gye means the mind is expanded, all the quality are expanded, okay, are consumed. And in particular, the mind is expanded in relation to the nature of to reality. Okay, so he has these two aspects: Sang Gye, the purification and development of all the qualities. Okay, so that was for a little etymology. Okay, so now what we are looking. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay, and. Okay, so we are looking at the karma. Okay, so maybe I can go back a little bit and put things into context, just to refresh our memory. We are looking at the training, okay, of the beings, and we are still. I have to accelerate because otherwise it's going to be a problem. Okay, I have to speed up a little bit. We have the 3 trainings and the 3 scopes, and each of the 3 scopes has a particular training in terms of behavior, and also in terms, especially also in terms of the mind. Okay, that allows him. So he has some contemplation to ripen a specific type of attitude, and this attitude will influence his behavior and his interpretation of his reading of reality. You see, his management of the circumstances, the way he's going to interact with the environment, and according to those transformation taking place inside of the mind due to this development of wisdom and understanding, then this type of behavior will allow him to achieve his specific purpose. So in terms of the first scope, the purpose is to have a good experience in the future, to be in contact with a happy rebirth. And for that, he has to develop first the yearning of a good rebirth. And for this, we have the teaching on precision and rebirth and death and impermanence. Okay, and then finally we have the teachings on the actual means to achieve happiness for the good rebirth, and this is the teachings on the refuge. He has to entrust completely to the 3 jewels, the Buddha, the Buddha jewel, Dharma jewel, and Sangha jewel, in terms of being in tune. The behavior should be to be in tune with the teaching, and in particular, this is the second part. He has to have a behavior which is completely harmonious with the law of cause and effect, okay, the law of karma. And this is where we are. We have started this explanation of the law of cause and effect together. And we have seen that the karma has to be first taken into consideration. We have first to take into consideration the general characteristics of karma. The karma is fixed, okay? It grows, it increased exponentially, and one action done on one day, the next day it has doubled in terms of potential and potential of ripening. And we do not meet the result of action that we have not produced, which the cause haven't been produced. And once the karma has been created, it will not disappear. Okay, if no opposing forces are met, then the karma will continue to grow as a potential, will continue to grow, this seed will continue to grow, and when the causes and condition will manifest, will gather, will collect, will gather, then the karma will ripen. So in terms of opening forces, we should understand that there is the opening forces in relation to good karma, the virtuous karma, and the opening forces with respect to the negative karma. So it means that there is something that hinders the ripening of virtuous karma, and there is something that hinders the ripening of the negative karma. Okay, so in terms of what hinders the ripening of the negative karma, and this might be the only positive quality of the negative karma, is that it can be purified. What does that mean? It means that the seed can be neutralized. It's not that the karma is eliminated, as the obscuration is eliminated, but the seed, the ripening potential of that karma is neutralized or is reduced due to the application of what we call the 4 powers. So we will come to this at the end of this section on karma. And in terms of the virtuous karma, there is also some obstacles, some hindrance to the ripening of the virtuous karma. And this is something we should really be careful. What is the factors that hinders the ripening of virtuous karma is anger. Okay, so anger, hatred, aversion, it is the same affliction, but it's labeled differently at different level of intensity. Let's call it aversion. Okay, that grows into anger and that grows into hatred. So that is compared to a fire that burn. You see, like a seed which is burned, then is possibility to yield the result is completely neutralized. In the same way, anger neutralize the reduce or even neutralize completely the possibility for us to experience the happy result that will come naturally from the nature of the virtuous action. So we should really, there is no such, in Buddhism, we said there is no such harm as anger or aversion, okay? And from 2 points of view, well, from the first point of view, it is this one that we with great effort, we collect virtuous action. With great effort, we try to, help have altruistic activity. And due to anger, you see, we will not be able to experience the result of those actions, and we'll only left with the non-virtuous karma. So that's the problem. So in terms of the experience, there is this problem. Also in terms of the ability to progress along the path, because the progress along the path and to generate the realization of a mind, you see, of all the stages, the path and ground, we need 2 conditions, 2 cooperative conditions. One is the purification of the mind, okay, and the other is the great accumulation of virtue that potentialize the mind to realize, you see, to generate the profound qualities and realize like deep aspect of wisdom. So the mind has to be sustained by those 2 cooperative conditions that we should try to, on a daily basis, try to gather. See, one is the purification, to neutralize the negative imprint on the mind and purify the mind. And the other is to accumulate as much virtue as possible in order to potentialize the mind. So if we do not take care of our mind and we leave the mind, see, without introspection and welcoming any type of emotion, affliction, and train of thought without any discrimination, then we will never be able to make progress on this mind, and we will also it will be a great hindrance for our progress and for our experience of happiness in the future. And then a third point of view from which anger is really is a great harm. It is that because simply it is the discordant class of the Mahayana. Okay, our ultimate goal is not the first scope, is not the second scope, the middling scope. It is the great scope. It is to achieve the state of Buddha, and to achieve the state of Buddha, we need to develop bodhicitta, which is this mind of enlightenment, this desire to attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. And this mind is rooted in great compassion and loving kindness. And what is the discordant class of loving kindness? It is none other than anger or aversion. So it is really it is the discordant class of the Mahayana. Okay, it is the anger, is the aversion, it is the discordant class of the Mahayana. Therefore, we should try with all possible, with all the energy of our mind, you see, all the possible attention that we have and all the means that we are able to use to have at our disposal to reduce aversion from our mind, to avoid its manifestation, because it really hinders our progress on the path. Okay, and it is the discordant class, or what we really want to achieve. What we really want to achieve is this quality of loving kindness, this unconditioned love and compassion. And therefore, as long as we have anger in our mind, as long as we discriminate between friends, strangers, and enemies, there is no way we can develop great compassion and therefore put one foot to step into the great vehicle. Okay, so that was the importance of taking care of anger from those different point of view. So now we have seen, okay, those 4 characteristics. We introduce what has to be adopted and what has to be discarded. So the Buddha, he understood, he saw perfectly that the result of our misfortune and suffering in cyclic existence is due to our action. And even though our negative action are numberless, mainly we accomplish our suffering through these through the three doors: body, speech, and mind. And the expression, the negative, the main negative expression of those body, speech, and mind are those 10 non-virtuous actions: 3 of the body, 4 of the speech, and 3 of the mind. So we have, as we said last time, we have the killing, okay, killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, lying, divisive speech, offensive speech, senseless speech, and gossip. And then we have covetousness, malice, and wrong views. Okay, and we have seen last time that for an action, an action to have the full power to project 5 aggregates in an unfortunate state of existence. So the 5, when we talk about the 5 aggregates, the 5 aggregates are the physical and psychic constituent of the person. Okay, we have body and mind. Body and mind. Body is the aggregate of form, what we call the aggregate of form. So and then we have the aggregate of the mind. I mean the mind constituent, which is divided into 4 according to the relevance in having this concept of I appearing in the mind. So we'll come to that. Okay, so basically body and mind. So one complete action, one negative complete action, project a body and mind in an unfortunate state. Okay, and for an action to have this full power needs to be complete. And to be complete, it means to have like the four branch. The base, the branch of what we call the basis, the attitude, the performance, and culmination. The base, if we take, for example, the killing, we have seen the basis is killing another living beings. The attitude has 3 aspects: the perception, so the accurate discrimination of the object we want to kill; the affliction, which any of the three roots, mental affliction, which are aversion, attachment, or ignorance; and the motivation to kill. Okay, without the motivation, there is no complete action of killing. And then we have the performance. So the performance can be done by oneself or another. It makes no difference in terms of the accumulation of karma. If I kill someone myself, or if I ask another one to kill, it makes no difference. I mean, the only difference is that in my wrong views and ignorance, I also cause someone else to accumulate the karma of killing. Okay, so yeah. And then we have the culmination. The culmination, it means that the person has to die before for the action to be complete. So all of those 4 branches, they have to be applying to the stealing, to sexual misconduct, etc. So the entity of stealing is to take simply what has not been given. Okay, it is anything which is owned by another, basically. In terms of sexual misconduct, so there are many branches for each of those actions. There are different branches of subtleties. Okay, but we go to the main, the core of each action, because otherwise we'll never finish the text in time. So in terms of the sexual misconduct, the main one is to have intercourse with the partner of another. Okay, that's the main. And in terms of lying, it's to change the discrimination of others, to misrepresent what we have seen, heard. Okay, so misrepresent our perception, to change the discrimination of others. And in terms of divisive speech, it is the desire for the compatible to be separate, or for the incompatible to remain as such. Okay, so it can be true, not true. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what we say. The offensive speech, it is the desire to speak in an offensive manner and to hurt other with our speech. It can be true, not true. It doesn't matter. And then we have the senseless speech, the gossip. So basically, it is a speech about the topic that is not meaningful. Okay, it has to, in general, is motivated by attachment. So talks about fighting, talks about movies, talks about all these kind of things, so it has to be done. It has to be undertaken with the feeling of importance. Okay, of course we are social beings, a social animal, and if we start only if we disengage from a certain type of commonly relation with each other, it can be a problem. So here, I mean, to be a full action, it has to have 7 bases. Okay, so basically it has to be motivated by attachment, and someone has to have the feeling that what he says, you see, it's important. Okay, it is relevant. It is relevant. And then we have a covetousness. Covetousness, it is the desire, this desire, and to elaborate. It is a complete train of thought that thinks to see how I wish this could be mine, and maybe if I do like this, then I can acquire it. In a negative way or in a normal way, it doesn't matter. Okay, is basically you long for the possession of for something which is not yours. Okay, so be careful with window shopping. Okay, and or like shopping on internet and these kind of things, because there's a lot of covetousness involved. Okay, in these activities. Okay, and then finally, there is also malice. Malice also is train of thought, is a complete train of thought which is motivated by anger, okay, by aversion, which like thing, the motivation is to strike, and there's this thinking, how nice it would be if that person could suffer, or if its possession would be damaged, or if it would have this and such difficulty and everything, and so there's this type of determination. Right? So you elaborate such train of thought, and eventually the culmination, you see, would be then to determine oneself, eventually to act, or to act in a way that is conducive to this type of thought, of aspiration that we have. Okay, and then also we have and finally we have the wrong views. So the wrong view are of 2 types. In general, there is the wrong view that is deprecation or denial. Let's say there is something that exists, and we negate the existence of that thing. Okay, for example, the law of cause and effect. Okay, the past life, future life, the quality of the 3 jewels, the existence of the state of liberation, and those kind of things. Okay, so here you have to arrive to a certain. There is also a complete train of thought, and you must go into investigation and conclude that there is no such thing, and then you hold on that, and that's a wrong view. Okay, and there is also a wrong view which is a superimposition. Okay, superimposition, where there's something non-existent. Okay, and I mean, superposition might be confused with the context of true existence. So let's eliminate superimposition. It is like there is the first one is the deny. You negate something that exists. In this one, you will affirm the existence of a non-existent. For example, a creator. Okay. For example, a general principle from which everything arises. See, that would be a wrong view. Okay. But mainly, what causes us problem is the denial. Okay, denial of cause, the denial of the effect, the denial of existence. So mainly, it has to do with the wrong view. Has to do with denial, yeah. Mistaken denial. Okay, so and all of this different action. Then the result of those action, you see, it can vary in terms of the friction can vary according to certain factors. Okay, certain factors. So in the level of yogic deeds of Asanga, Asanga mentioned like 6 factors that will influence the level, the intensity of the experience. So this works either with negative action than with a positive action. So the fact that for a same action, I will have a different result in terms of intensity, in terms of the duration of the experience, in terms of the intensity of the experience, okay? Or the speed with which that action will actually ripen according to different factors, okay? And those 6 factors, as you can see, where there, you can see here, you have those difference that makes the karma heavier, okay? So one is the essential nature. So the essential nature means that an action of killing, for example, the action of body are heavier than the action of speech, which are heavier than the action of the mind, okay? And inside of the action of body, killing is heavier than stealing, which is heavier than sexual misconduct. So by the nature itself of the action, you see, you will experience heavier or heavier results. Okay. Then the other one, which is for the same action, for example, for the same action of killing, then the mental component will make a difference in terms of the ripening. For example, and by mental component, what do we mean? We mean that the level of the intensity of the mental affliction that accompanied the action. For example, if I kill, motivated, you see, by an intense form of anger, of aversion, of hatred, then that action will be heavier in terms of result that if I kill, you see, with like a very low level of affliction or motivated by attachment, for example, okay, or merely by ignorance, or even if we stay with anger, if I have a low level of anger, then it will influence the result of the action. Okay. So the other one is the next is the way the action is performed. Okay, the way the action is performed, the preliminary action. So this has to do if we stick with the action of killing. For example, if I kill someone or an animal, I make it suffer. Okay, for a long time. It's killed with cruelty, or if it's killed quickly in a single instant, then also this will influence the result of the action. And the next is, which is very important, is the basis. Okay, the basis, it is the recipient of our action. So we consider that there is different basis. The result of the action varied according to the level of the basis. And in terms of we have like there is two very strong bases for us human being. One, it's the beings which have qualities, okay, qualities. For example, the Buddha, the Arhat, the Bodhisattvas, you see, and the Sangha also. The Sangha is just because they have vows in their mental continuum, in their continuum, and those makes action heavier. There's no mention that it has to have like a particular inner quality, but just because that there's vows, which is the higher training in ethic, then this makes the action heavier. But for the other, you see, there must be inner qualities, and so those are what we call the field of quality. So every action that we undertake toward those field of quality, then the result of the action is major, really, really major. And the other one is the field of benefit. So the field of benefit are, for example, our parents, or for example, friends that have been of great help, or teacher. Okay, for example, people who have benefited us in our life, and in particular, our parents. because, and when we talk about parents in particular, we talk about the biological parents because they have given us this body, okay? And this is considered to be the greatest kindness, because on the basis of that body, we can attain liberation, we can attain enlightenment, we can create the causes of vast happiness. We can, on this basis, make great progress on the path to enlightenment. And therefore, you see, due to this karmic connection, then the parents, everything that is done toward the parents has the major effect. Okay, so those are the two fields: the field of quality, the field of excellence, and the field of what we call the field of excellence, yeah, and the field of benefit. Okay, so every action that we undergo, that we undertake toward those two fields, the ripening is very strong, very major, good or bad. Okay, of course. And then finally, and not finally, fifth one, we have the action always being performed. Okay, the action always being performed means that the more we perform an action, okay, like for example, we have a particular tendency to accomplish a particular virtuous or non-virtuous action, then then automatically that action acquire some strength with time. They acquired some strength. I think it's because maybe it becomes more and more complete in terms of all the branches. The branches, they become more and more excellent and strong, and probably also because the tendency is reinforced in the mind. So anyway, it contributes to give power to the action. So it can be killing, can be generosity, okay, whatever. And the other one, it's in relation to that time the agent, the absence of antidote. So if we take, for example, negative action, if someone is accomplish only negative action, and from his own side, there is no nothing to counterbalance. There is no purification from time to time. There is no remorse from time to time. There is no accomplishment of virtue from time to time. There is no antidote which are cultivated to decrease the power of attachment and aversion. Then all the negative actions that are done by such a person, they become extremely strong, extremely strong. And this is the same, you see, for virtuous action, or the virtuous action that are accomplished by someone who has vows in his continuum, the precept of refuge, or the liberation, the vows of liberation, or individual liberation, or the vows of bodhisattva. And if that person continuously try to purify negative action and continuously try to accumulate virtue and develop antidotes, again, attachment, aversion, etc., then all of these virtuous action, they acquire power, major power. Okay, so this is like what the short presentation of all the different how an action or a same action, you see, done by two different persons can vary in terms of result. Okay. All right. Okay. So what I'm gonna, so I have to select, you see, topics in the chapter of karma, because if we go through the karma, we need all the 7 sessions will be just taken by this topic. It is a very vast and complicated. So now, in terms of let's look at the ripening of this. So we have seen we have those 10 non-virtuous actions here. Those are what has to be abandoned, and basically what has to be developed is the opposite: the non-killing, the non-stealing, non-sexual misconduct, non-lying, non-division, etc., etc., etc. So this is why you see people, after having taken refuge, they assume the vows individual liberation. So for the lay people, there are up to 5 vows. Okay, they can be taken all the 5, or only 1 or 2, and those are the non-killing, non-stealing, non-sexual misconduct, and non-lying, and non-drinking of intoxicants. Okay, so those are not drinking alcohol, basically not taking intoxicants. So is so there is a great advantage in taking vows. What is the difference between someone who has taken vows and someone who has not taken any vows? For example, if I want to accumulate the action, the virtuous action of non-killing, then I must be, you see, in the condition of killing someone, and I restrain. I restrain. I do not kill. Okay, which is a bit different from saving a life, if you think carefully. So then there is the action of non-killing. The other way to accumulate the karma of non-killing, the virtuous karma of non-killing, is to acquire, to generate the vow of non-killing. The vow, it is the subtle form that is generated based on the ritual. You see, you have to go someone from the lineage, and it is expert in those things, and you assume for this life. See, for for this life, the vow of not killing, not stealing, not lying. In terms of lying, it has to be the root vows is with your realization. Basically, you have to. And not killing is not killing a human being. To break your vows, you have to kill a human being or that which is becoming a human being. Then you will break your vows to the root. And for stealing, it has to be something from a certain amount that has to be missed by someone. And the lying is to lie about realization, your own realization. For example, to pretend that you have realized emptiness of calm abiding or bodhicitta, kind of things. And there is no intoxicant. Okay, so basically, once the vows have been generated in your continuum, let's say the vows of non-killing, I'm confident that I can stop killing human beings for the rest of my life. You see, that's the type of motivation, the type of thought. So I go to my teacher and I ask him to take the vows of not killing. Once the vows have been generated in your continuum, it is a subtle form. It is called a non-revelatory form, and it always accompanied you. Is that you're playing, you're sleeping, you're active, not active, whatever. The vows is there, and as long as it's not broken, you see, there is a karma of not killing is continuously accumulated, continuously day and night. Same for not stealing, same for no sexual misconduct, etc., etc. So you see, someone who has vows continuously accumulate the karma of not killing, etc., day and night. Even when he's at the swimming pool, he accumulates, you see, the karma of non-killing. So that's the benefit of the vows. So you should think carefully about this, because it is a means to purify negative karma of having killed, for example, in the past, and also to continuously accumulate virtue. Okay, so that's one of the benefits of taking vows. This being said, and now we are going to look at the way the karma ripen. Okay, but that would be a little bit interesting for us. Do I have something in here on that? No, it comes ripening qualities.
It's above.
It's ripening. It's above. No, I do not see it. Yeah, it is. Yeah, under the outline. Okay, but it is not coming as a detailed detailed subdivision. Okay, so now let's think. So we are here. You see, think about some specifics. That has to be here, right? Here we go. Okay, it is explained in the context of the white karma, but it's the same for the black karma. Okay, so once an action has been performed, if all the branches are complete, then here we can see 3 because there is a subdivision, but actually one action can yield 4 results. 4 results, because the result congruent to the cause has 2 divisions. two divisions. So the first one is the ripening result, or the friction, we call it the frictional result, or the fully ripened effect. It means 5 aggregate. 5 aggregate. For example, a virtuous action can project 5 aggregate of human beings. An extremely virtuous action, the 5 aggregates, the physical aggregates component of a deva, of a desire realm, for example. Okay, so that's the fully ripened result, the frictional result. It's the 5 aggregates of particular. So if it is a negative action, that it will project according to the weight of the action, the weight of the karma, it will project the 5 aggregate of an animal, the 5 aggregates of a preta, the 5 aggregates of being in a narak. Okay, so we have those differences. Okay, then after, so let's say we take the action of killing. Okay, so you kill someone motivated by hatred, and at some point in some future life, at the time of death, that karma ripen and project you into some kind of lower realms where you stay there for some time. You experience your life as a animal or whatever. Okay, and once, let's say you die in that particular realms, and at the time of death, because you manage, due to causes and condition, to die with some kind of a virtuous state of mind, which is very difficult when you're in the lower state of existence, then, and that virtuous state of mind activate a karma to be reborn again as a human. Okay, so you are reborn again as the human, but that particular karma, you see, that projected you before in the lower realms, when you go back into the human sphere, it still has some energy it's not completely eliminated. So you have the 3 other or 2 other or 3 other type of result to be experienced back into the human sphere. Okay, and one is what we call the result congruent to the cause, and this has 2 divisions. We have the habit that correspond to the cause. For example, if you have the habit of killing, then when you back in the human condition, then you have this liking and this tendency for killing. You see, it is something, it is there in you. This is why you can see maybe some child that they like to kill the insect, to kill animals, whatever. And the others, it's completely the opposite. See, so that has to do with the imprint. And the other result included into this result congruent to the cause is called the experience that correspond to the cause. It is the experience congruent to the cause. So one is the habit congruent with the cause, and the other one is the experience that correspond to the cause. So in terms of killing, you see what is gonna be your experience congruent to the cause. Then once you're reborn as the human, you will have a short life and you will have many illnesses. So the illnesses that comes from the arise from the killing, from the action of killing, and you will have many problems, you see, to have success in your activities. But mainly is a short life and illnesses, okay, that come from killing. And for the stealing, it will be you will lack resources. You will be destitute back in a human sphere, and whatever you have, you see, they will be stolen, or they will be borrowed, and nobody will bring you back, and you will lose your possession, okay, in some way. And in terms of sexual misconduct, and it is the inability to sustain a relationship. So basically, you will quickly separate from partners, family, friend, workers. You experience loneliness, and you have, let's say, a contentious spouse or husband. Yeah, and basically that's what happened. And in terms of lying, then let's say when you back into the human sphere, then other people, they never believe whatever you say. Even though you say the truth, you see, your speech has no power due to your action of lying. Your speech has no power, and people never listen your advice. Never listen your advice. I don't know if you notice, but maybe sometimes there's some meetings, and you there, you see, you have that excellent idea, but nobody hear it. And then there is the guy, next to you. You almost said the same thing, and he get all the credit for it. And this is because this is karma of lying. So your speech is deprived of power. So in terms of slander, you see, harsh speech, slander is to separate people. You see, slander is not really slander. It is the speech that separate people, that create like a disharmony. Then what happened in the human sphere, when you're back, then you are lonely, you have very few friends, or your retinue of workers, etc. You see, there's very few difficult, and they have difficulty among all of these people that you live. You see, can be your family or whatever. There's a difficulty to establish harmonious relationship. Harmonious relationship is difficult. And then you have harsh words. So harsh words, then others will be offensive, okay? And they speak negatively to you or about you. Okay? Even if you try to be kind with others, then it will be always interpreted negatively. So that's the problem. And idle talk, gossip, what happened? Then also here, others do not take your words seriously. They not listen what you say, and whatever you say, it's considered as ridiculous. Basically, it's considered as ridiculous. So that's what happens in terms of karma. In terms of covetousness, you will have a great difficulty to actualize your own scope. You will always have many desire, and you will not realize your own aims. That's what happened. And in terms of malice, you will have unreasoned fear. You see, you will always abide in anxiety, in fear, and you will be easily prone to panic. Okay, and in terms of wrong view, what happened in terms of experience, you will be very stubbornly ignorant, difficulty to obtain realization, to develop knowledge and wisdom, okay, and great confusion in your mind, greatly confused. So this is the experience similar to the cause, okay? And then there is also another type of result. The third one, or the fourth one, according how we count this, is the environmental result. The environmental result basically is that the place we live, the place we lived in, is shaped by our action. So we can distinguish, you see, you can distinguish different type of karma. You can distinguish, there is like an individual karma, but there is also a collective karma. The collective karma, it is the common experience of people who, by the force of previous karma, they gather together in the same place, and they experience, they have a common experience. They have a common experience in terms of situation, in terms of happiness, suffering, in terms of the environment in which they live in. But everybody singularly are also this individual experience. For example, we can go and maybe when we meet in the future, you see, we can go and eat together to the restaurant. And even though we order the same dish, this is, you see, the common experience. This is the common karma. Then everybody has the individual experience with respect to that karma. Some people like it, some people do not like it. One gets sick, another doesn't get sick. You see, this is the individual karma. So there is a common imprint, and there is also uncommon imprint. So in terms of the environment, okay, so each action, they will also shape the environment in a particular way. So this let us understand that we are indivisible. You see, you cannot separate yourself from the people you live in. You cannot separate yourself from the environment and the society you live in. So all of this is the result of the accumulation of particular action, particular karma, and the ripening of those actions. Okay? So in terms of killing, what happened? You'll be reborn in a violent place. Okay, of course. when there is many problems such as wars and these kind of things, the environment and the things that surround you, they are somehow hostile, they are dangerous, they're uncomfortable. Food, drink, medicine, and others and necessity are difficult to find. And when they are found, they have a little benefit. Little benefit in sustaining the body, in sustaining your health. They are somehow, food will be difficult to digest, for example, and induce even illnesses. So that's the result, environmental result of killing. The environmental result of stealing, where you'll be reborn in barren places where crops, fruit, they don't grow, or even if they grow, they are quickly destroyed. For example, they're quickly destroyed. Also, all your endeavor, somehow they fail. See, all your endeavor, they fail. So that's that for stealing. For sexual misconduct, also, then you live in a dirty place that causes many diseases, where there is it's filthy, there is bad, unpleasant odor, there is misery. So that's the environmental result of sexual misconduct. In terms of lying, what happened with lying? You live among cheaters, thieves. Okay, it's difficult to find someone you can rely and you can trust. This in your environment is like this. Yeah. Your endeavor also have difficulty to bear fruit. Okay. There is a disharmony among workers. Your partners in a business, and you'll be fearful. Okay, they have many reasons, many causes for fear. In terms of divisive speech, so you live in a barren place, inhospitable, and is uneven. There is many difficulty to progress in those places. Many difficulty to progress, and the communications are difficult. There are few means of transportation, and you'll have to carry loads, heavy loads over long distances. So that's typical from divisive speech. And then you have harsh words. Harsh word, then you live in an appealing environment. There are broken bricks, sharp rocks, thorns that always you see like a cut and cut your flesh, and every time that you move, there is no such beautiful things like waterfalls, like ponds. The place is rough, arid, salty, barren, vile. There is many dangerous animals, and there is many causes for you to be afraid in this environment. Then idle talk or gossip. So you live in a place where the tree do not bear fruit, or they bear fruit at the wrong time, improper time, and therefore the rain come at improper time, and everything is destroyed. Also, your activity is difficult to be successful, very difficult. There is no comfortable things like growth, etc. Okay. Then you have covetousness. You will get reborn in place where the harvests are poor, very poor. Material resources are easily destroyed or lost, and the physical strengths and beauty, they easily degenerate, easily. And in terms of malice, what happened? What is the place of malice? Where we'll get reborn in a place which is devastated by war. There's always conflict, always war, all the time. There is epidemics as well, a continuous conflict and dispute, and also there's many thieves and dangerous animals like snakes, scorpions, and this kind of stuff. And then finally, but not the least, a wrong view. What happened? We're born in a place where the water will dry up. It is difficult to find to find water. The plant, you plant seed, but the crops will fail. Is yeah. The unclean appear to be clean, you see, and the happiness and the suffering appears to be happiness. That is it's very that's like this, and yeah, difficult to have like protection. There's no refuge. Yeah, there is no artwork or scriptures, spiritual guide. See. Art in general, since there's no nice things in this environment. It's difficult. Okay, so that was a very brief description. So all of this can be found in the lam-rim literature. So this is something that I gather, okay, for you to have an idea. So of course, all the virtues karma will have the opposite effect. This is the complete everything that you've heard so far. If we accomplish, you see, a virtuous activity, then it will be the total opposite, complete opposite. That is very easy to understand. So all of this came from you have also some sutra where the Buddha explained, if you do this and this happen, blah blah blah. So it has been gathered together by Lama Tsong Khapa in scriptures, and Pabongka Rinpoche also in his lam-rim and Liberation of Pamivand. You can find many details and very detailed descriptions on all of those things. Okay. So now, in terms of at that time, so in terms of a text, so it says we are stanza number 16. So it says, in addition, think well about the result of black and white action. So okay, we have done quite in detail the black action and the white action are the complete opposite. See, imagine if you practice generosity, if you protect life, if you take care of the sick, you see, if you protect the belongings of others, if you are honest and everything. So all the opposite is happening. Okay, and he say it depends on the correct practice that has to be adopted and that has to be rejected. So by having contemplated, you see, all the downfalls, you see, the negative aspect, all of this action, then one decide to restrain from now on, to restrain from such and such type of action. And we should also do that. I mean, we should also do that in our life. We should identify what are the aspect, very obvious aspect that we don't like. Maybe we are in such a condition, you see, that our environment is such and such, or our body is such and such, or our experience in life are such and such, you know, when we are with people or whatever on the workplace. And we should try to trace back this experience to a specific action accomplished in the past. Okay, and we should therefore see the suffering or the frustration, you see, the unsatisfaction that brings such an experience, and decide to now stop in the future to accomplish such and such action, because they have ripened, you see, in your life as such and such experience. And on the opposite, if we understand that our life is deprived from this, of that we would like to have such and such experience, such and such relation, such and such, you see, environment, then we should try to accumulate produce the cause for this that will ripen in the future. When I mean in the future, I mean next life. One future life, not even next, one future life. Yeah. We don't know. It's dependent on the power of the action. We will come to that. So now and then Lama Tsong Khapa says, so I, a yogi, practice like this. You who desire liberation should do likewise. Okay. And then comes the section on the method to accomplish the marvelous body of the happy migration. So now Lama Tsong Khapa says that, stanza number 17, until you attain a body with pure characteristics, you will not make progress on your practice of the supreme path. And he says, train in the causes for becoming free from impurities. And he said, then after he says, yeah, okay. So since your three doors, the three doors are body, speech, and mind, which are the doors of actions, are defiled by negativities, downfall, and stains, it is particularly important to purify karmic obscuration, therefore continuously cherish reliance on purification with the four forces. Okay, Aya Yogi presents if it is a liberation, should likewise. So in the stanza number 18, they explain how to purify negative action. We'll come to that. So now we are on stanza number 17, where he explained that if you really want to make like great progress on the path, on the supreme path toward liberation of enlightenment. So here we are talking about enlightenment, complete enlightenment. You need a particular support. You need a particular body, and you need the particular circumstances. Okay, and because on having such particular body, with it has 7 or 8 characteristics. We'll come to that. 7 or 8 characteristics. Then we can we have full power to progress, to make very decisive progress on the path, and we can also greatly benefit others. Okay, so those 8 or 7 characteristics should not be in this context. You see, should not be sought for just for the pleasure of enjoying the attribute, merely the attribute, but they are the cause. Lama Tsong Khapa exhorts us to create the cause for such circumstances in order to make great progress on the path and vastly benefit others. Okay, so now we come to those 7 attributes. Okay, so I must have this somewhere. I just have to find it. Okay, not to want to tell you the okay. So the 7 are a long life. Okay, to have a long life, because if we have a long life, then you can practice Dharma for a long time. Okay, don't forget that death is the hindrance, because it severs the continuity of the practice. Okay. So to have a long life enable us, you see, to practice the Dharma for a long time, and therefore to have a chance to make more imprint and to accumulate more virtue. Because if you have a virtuous life, a virtuous or an altruistic activity, you can also benefit others for a longer period of time. Okay. So, and he said, so what is the cause for long life? Is not harming any beings. Okay. Not harming any beings, cultivating an attitude of not harming, okay, practicing a liberation animals, saving the life of animals who are going to be killed. So there is such practice in our tradition, or like saving animals, for example, fish, whatever, seashells, and to free them again. Okay, so those are practices, and giving, of course, giving medicine to the sick, and nursing the sick. Those are the major activity that will to heal, to be of assistance to the sick. Those are the major activities that produce as a ripening result, as not a ripening result, as the effect similar to the cause. Okay, the long life and a strong health. And then the second quality. So you see, well, if you have a long life, it says you can practice the path for a long time, and you can benefit others for a long time, and therefore everybody's happy. See, yourself and others. Excellent completion. Excellent completion means to have an attractive aspect. We are so not to be famous. That's not the point here. To be on the magazine cover, but simply because we are in a desire realm, and our consciousness, we are conditioned. You know, our mind. We have a mind of the desire realm, and the mind is conditioned by this type of by this ripening, by this type of conditioning, and therefore we are attracted to what is pleasant to the mind, and we distance ourselves from what is displeasing. So having an attractive appearances you see, can be a means to accomplish the benefit of others, because people are naturally drawn to you. So the problem is that in the common mundane existence, then you might people might take advantage of this, for their own benefit. While here, everything you see is done in order to greatly benefit others. So that's the point. You see, having an attractive aspect, people are naturally drawn to you, and therefore they will listen to you. You have more impact on the mind of others. Okay. So what are the causes for that? The causes is patience. Patience, which is in the entity of a non-disturbed mind. That's patience. So patience is not, for example, when you're waiting for the subway or for the train or for the bus, you see, and the bus is a bit late, and then you're boiling inside. You see, you're boiling inside, but externally, you don't let's say you don't use harsh word or whatever, So this is not patience. This is ethical behavior. Patience is an undisturbed mind. Whatever happened externally, the circumstances, whatever the behavior of people toward you, your mind remain undisturbed. That's the entity of patience. So that the ripening effect of this is attractive appearance. Also, Nagarjuna is said that we should offer light to the stupa, light, you see, to the statues of the Buddhas. This also calls for a beautiful appearance. Offering ornaments, clothing, you see, commissioning and restoring image of the Buddha, speech and mind. So all of this contribute to create the cause for excellent completion. And then we have excellent lineage. So maybe now we will say like social status, probably, or family, whatever. So this because you have more power, you have connection, you have more power. If you want to carry on like virtuous activity, virtuous project, association, humanitarian project, then you have all the connections and everything, you see. So it comes easy. It comes easy. So what is the cause for that? It's to overcome pride, and to make obeisance to one teacher, gurus, to respect other as if you were their servant. That's what Nagarjuna says in his text. Okay, so that produce it contributes as a ripening effect in take rebirth in a notorious family. And then we have excellent power. So excellent power means, you see, to have great resources, abundance, close associates, many helpers. So this is what excellent powers need. Excellent powers means, you see. So due to that, then it's very easy, see, to have also project and to carry on virtuous activity as a big scale. For example, if you look, like great beings, like Lama Zopa and everything, you can see they have so much power, that they have a project, and then so many people are coming, to help and to carry on the activities to help for the project. So they have they have practiced those things. So excellent power means to give food, clothing, whatever is requested or not, you see, to the indigent, to give to those who suffer, to those who are destitute, okay, and giving also, of course, also to those who have good qualities, inner qualities, but not necessarily possession. Okay, so then we have after the fifth quality is trustworthy words. So someone will listen your speech. It comes from particular causes to empower your speech, such that you say something and it is listened. You have the ability to influence others. Some might say charisma. See, and this is done by habituation to giving up the 4 non-virtues of the speech. So by giving up the 4 non-virtues of the speech, then you will harvest such quality in the future. And then we have being famous, being renowned and powerful. And this comes from making a particular aspirational prayer to acquire such good qualities in general, to benefit others, making offering to gurus, rituals, parents, abbot, etc., etc. So then comes renown. And then we have strength. So the strengths is them of the mind. You see, strengths of the mind. So this is naturally experiencing little injury, no illness. Also have great enthusiasm. You see, this great enthusiasm for virtue, for the practice, ability to sustain effort and hardship for a long time. And so this comes from accomplishing what no one else can do. For example, also to participate, to collaborate, or for like project or whatever task. Like if you know that if you don't participate, then they will not make it. For example, such type of attitude, and then you participate just for the for those people to have experience success. So basically, accomplishing what cannot be done by other, assisting in what you can done with your collaboration, giving food, drink, and refraining from beating. Okay, beating animals, beating human, whatever. Yeah, this like this. Okay, so in this way you have like all of this. So all of these qualities should be all this. They depend from type of behavior that have to be accumulated again and again, repeatedly. You see, for over a period of time, over this life, and then in next life they will ripen with such qualities. So you see, if you know well the law of cause and effect, then every day is offered to you many opportunities to create the cause of the specific, of vast happiness. And you can really become the architect of your own experience, of your own future experience. You just have to know the causes for it. Everything being a result, everything depending on causes and condition, and in particular, everything as a congruent cause. There is similarity between the effect and the result. Knowing that, we can be confident that particular action, they will yield a particular result. Okay. And one little thing that I want to share with you is at the time of death. So the time of death is very important, because the condition, basically all the Buddhist practice is designed to prepare us for the time of death. Okay, that's the most important moment in the life of a Buddhist practitioner. Basically, is the time of death, and the quality of the mind, the state of mind that we can manifest or produce at the time of death will directly influence the next experience. Okay? So simply because the attitude at the time of death will activate the particular imprint. So if we die with an afflicted state of mind, with fear, with attachment for our close ones, for our possession, you see, then this will is a non-virtue state of mind and will activate necessarily negative imprint. If we die with hatred for enemy, with resentment, then this will also activate a negative imprint. So we have to die completely free from attachment, completely free from aversion. We have to die like in a virtue state of mind. Basically, so we have to be able to manifest virtue state of mind at the time of death. What does that mean? It means like to bring faith to the mind. For example, to think about one's guru, you think about the Dalai Lama, you think about your teacher, you think about whatever source of faith you have. It doesn't have to be Buddhism, okay? Whatever source of faith you have, then this produces a virtuous state of mind that will trigger a virtuous imprint, okay? Or you can, the best is to, according to His Holiness Dalai Lama, is to die with bodhicitta. If you can die with the sort of great compassion or attaining the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of others, then this is, according to him, is the best transference of consciousness. Okay, or you can also die thinking about emptiness. So there is some particular practices that can be done. Is it to bring the practice of the dissolution in Tantra, when one, you see, meditate on the clear light of the Dharmakaya, which is similar to the clear light of death, and try to slide in this experience. Okay, so basically it is very important. And this is why on a daily basis, when we fall asleep, we should try to mimic. You see, you should try to take this habit of falling asleep in the similar way. We choose a particular practice and thinking about the Buddha, thinking about the support of faith that we have, meditating on bodhicitta, meditating on emptiness, whatever. But we have to train on a daily basis. In this way, we will have no difficulty to do it at the time of death. So it's the mind is a creature of habit. So if we take this habit on a daily basis, every time that we fall asleep, okay, we fall asleep in the lion position, they say. So it's on the right side, okay, on the right side, with the hands sustaining on the cheek, see, and the arm, the left arm on the left thigh. Then we should fall asleep in this position. And there are many explanations why this position is the best. It's because the light, the sleep has particular quality. It is not too deep, therefore you wake up with the clear mind. Okay, you will not wake up with like a foggy mind. Usually you wake up with a clear mind. And we should fall asleep with this idea of illumination, or thinking about those virtuous attributes as we have mentioned. So if we do that on a regular basis, then at the time of death, when we can feel that a moment has arrived, we can slide on the right side and bring to mind whatever we have been accustomed for the rest of our life, you see, to bring about, and it will come naturally. Okay, and if that comes, then we have no worry for the next experience, because the imprint that will trigger this virtuous mind will necessarily a virtuous imprint. Okay, and now Lama Tsong Khapa explained how to. He said that not only so, what we have to do to ensure that we have a good experience in the future, we have to stop the 10 non-virtuous action. Okay, that's one thing. But this is not enough. We also have to produce particular circumstances that will sustain or virtue of a pleasant experience, a cooperative condition that will come to complete that experience in a higher realms, and we have gone through that. And this is not enough. The third thing is to neutralize the negative imprint that we have been deposited on the mind since beginningless time. So there's a lot of work. So everything can be, there is no karma that cannot be neutralized. So there's no karma that cannot be purified. So we have to be clear with that. Okay, so the power of the purification, the vastness of the purification, and how deep is our purification, basically the efficiency of this purification depend on the force of what we call the four opponent powers. depend on how strong we are able to manifest these four opponent powers. So those four opponent powers are the power of regret. The first one is regret. Then we have determination, not to complete in the future or to restrain for a certain period of time, and then slowly to increase. Okay. Then we have the power of the basis, and then we have the actual antidote. So you see, we have four opponent powers. Why? Because the karma gives four results. So four type of result, four opponent powers. So the power of the power of regret. The power of regret it will block. You see. Let me think. I don't want to say. The power of regret will block the experience similar to the cause. The power of determination will block the tendency similar to the cause. The power of the basis will neutralize the environmental effect. And the power of the antidote itself, okay, will neutralize the fully ripened result, the projection of the five aggregates. So we have the karma, one single action give four results, and therefore to neutralize that particular action, we need four opponent power. Okay. So the first one is regret. So what does that mean? You mean every single day, you have to see in the evening. You do that in the evening. You think about what inappropriate behavior of body, speech, and mind you had during the day, and then you think about this entire life, whatever you can remember, and then you also think about all this action of body, speech, and mind, all these vows that you have taken in this life and in future life that you have broken. So there are some short texts to see that include everything. Basically, you have to, your purification, your regret should have two aspects. One, which is focus on particular instance that you remember and you regret. And the other is more general. It includes all type of negativities of body, speech, and mind, formulated, unformulated, natural, formulated or natural, that you have accomplished since beginningless time. Even those you don't remember, you need to have regret for those, because we have accomplished everything, anything, anywhere, basically. Okay, so it is similar to that. Imagine that there is a forest and you want to eliminate a particular animal, a particular nasty animal in this forest. Okay, so if you, but it's very difficult, you see, to find it and to catch it, and then there might be several. So what you do, you burn the whole forest. If you burn the whole forest, you are sure that this particular animal also has been eliminated. So this is in the same way with purification. You made a specific, targeted regret, but you also regret any types of sincerely, any types of non-virtue that you have possibly accumulated. In this way, you are sure that it is included inside. So this regret, it is very particular. It is like you have you understand, you see, the suffering potential that exists in this action for you, and you also understand the suffering eventually that you have created for others. Okay, but so here, but mainly at this level, mainly it is come to the understanding of the suffering potential that exists in this action. It is like, for example, you have you go to a restaurant, okay, with 3 or 4 friends, and then you all eat the same dish, and then you go out, and then there's one friend suddenly, he becomes white and he starts to shake, and blam, he dies. Okay, and then next one, it become dark, it become white, and it start to shake and dies, you know. And then the third one, it start to vomit all over the place. At this point, you understand, you see, it is what you have eaten. So you have what you have ingested. So this is the same type of regret you must have for the negative action accumulated in the past. You have to understand that they carry this unbelievable potential of suffering. They will throw you in a very difficult environment, and inside of this environment, all your life would be miserable. Basically, this is what you are, the type of regret. Okay, and then there's determination. The second one is the second power is the determination. Determination means that there is some action that you can definitely stop. For example, killing, you can stop. Killing is not difficult. So you determine yourself that from now on, you stop killing. And then those who you are very prone, you know, to accomplish, and it's very difficult for you to stop, for example, gossiping, might be difficult. So you start, you know, slowly, you do it for like 1 day or half a day, you see, and then slowly, we increase in this way. So this is the second one, determination. Then the third one is the power of the base. The power of the base, as we said before, there is two types of field for us to accomplish negativities, is the field of qualities and the field of benefits. So the field of qualities are Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. So in the same way that when you learn how to, you are like a newborn, you learn to walk, then you stand and then you fall. Basically, you stand up on the same ground on which you fall. So in relation to the field of excellence, you will again take refuge from the depths of your heart. You take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. Okay, in this way, you have the basis in relation to the field of excellence, and then the other field is all sentient beings. So basically, you can accumulate non-virtue in relation to Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, and all sentient beings. And in relation to all sentient beings, you generate the mind of great compassion and bodhicitta at that very moment. So the strongest, the better. And then finally, you have the power of the antidote. So what is the power of the antidote? It is any virtue that you accomplish in this very context. Can be making an offering, can be generosity, can be reading a sutra, can be meditating on love, compassion. Okay, any virtue can be reading, can be studying the Dharma. Okay, studying the Dharma, whatever. But there are some particular practices that are extremely beneficial, that are recommended. For example, the best one in absolute is to meditate on emptiness. That's the best one. To meditate on emptiness. So you meditate that the agent, the one accomplishing action, the action itself, and the support of the action, they are empty of inherent existence. So you meditate a little bit on emptiness, that's the best. Yeah? Otherwise, there is also the recitation, the reading some sutra that talks about emptiness. That also will be very, very good. But there's also the recitation associated or not associated with the prostration of the 35 Buddhas, for example. So recite the name of the Buddhas of the confession. There are 35, so you recite their name as much as possible. And while you recite them, they are visualized, okay? And then you prostrate. So you can do full prostration on just 5 points, just putting yourself on your knees, you see. Anyway, and so that also be very beneficial. And then there is also the Vajrasattva, the recitation of the mantra of Vajrasattva, which is very renowned in the Tantra Buddhist, Tibetan Buddhism tradition. Okay, so at least 21 times the long mantra, and this they said that is so powerful that the mere recitation of 21 times of the long mantra will stop the increasing aspect of negative action just by reciting 21 times. Okay, so anyway, there's all of these possible possibilities. So we should do that. We should include, see, this aspect. This is a very, very important aspect of the practice. And on a daily basis, we should purify the action accumulated in this life and in beginningless since beginningless time. You know? And slowly, we can purify this action. Stopping negative action is also extremely good, but it is not enough. We have also to neutralize the negative potential that just there, that just wait for the cause and condition to gather, and poof, they ripen, and we have no idea what's going to happen. So this is a very important part of the practice, and it should be done on a daily basis. And then from time to time, if you have the possibility, you should do retreats on purification. For example, there is this retreat of Vajrasattva, okay, where you basically you can do it by yourself or by with others. You do 4 sessions a day, and it's associated with visualization. You recite you accumulate the 100,000 repetition of the mantra of Vajrasattva. So this is one of the preliminaries. There are several, and the guarantee some major level of purification. And usually it is accompanied by signs. You see, so for example, if so those signs, they have to occur several times in short distance. They occur during dreams. For example, if you vomit, let's say, if you drink white substance like milk, yogurt, if you dress in white. So those are signs of purification. Yeah. Anyway, and now there will be many other things to say, but we have to move on. We have to move on, and we move on to the intermediate scope. Intermediate scope, and the text says, until you attain. So this is done. Stanza number 19. All right, 19. It says, if you do not put effort into contemplating the true suffering, the cause, the fault of cyclic existence, you will not develop the wish for liberation. If you do not contemplate true origin, the steps for entering cyclic existence, you will not understand how to cut the root of cyclic existence. Therefore, rely on wariness, definite emergence from existence, and cherish the knowledge that binds you to cyclic existence. I, a yogi, practice like this. If you desire liberation, you should do likewise. So here you see, in this two stanza, 19 and 20, we have the whole practice of the being of the intermediate scope. And let's share the screen. We're going to move to the intermediate scope right away. And here we go. Developing the thought, yearning for liberation. Okay. So basically, we have to contemplate 2 things: true suffering and true origin, which are the first 2 truths of the 4 noble truths. Right? So the 4 noble truths, when the Buddha explained the 4 noble truths, we have 2 sets of cause and effect. Okay, true suffering and the origin of suffering, true cessation and the cause of that, which is true path. But they are not, as you can see, first the effect and then the cause of the contaminated side, the suffering side, and then first the effect and then the cause of the completely pure side. So they are not in the temporal sequence. They are not in the sequence of cause and effect, because normally would be first the origin of suffering and then the explanation of the truth of suffering, and then a true path, and then the result, true cessation. Okay, but so the Buddha, he explained them in this way. Why? because it is not as we said, the normal sequence and the temporal sequence, but it is the sequence of clear realization in the mind of the disciple. It is in this sequence that the understanding is produced in the mind of the seeker, of the disciple. So what does that mean? It means that in the same way that someone who is sick, who has a illness, as long as that person, you see, is not aware of his condition, he will not try to find a remedy and to understand the cause of it, to find a remedy and to actualize the state of health, the healthy state again. So this is why first the Buddha explained the suffering, the true suffering, because as long as we do not understand clearly and deeply the situation in which we are all, there is no way to generate a desire to emerge from this suffering, you see? So this is why true suffering has been explained first. So if we think, for example, that, well, cyclic existence, you see, I'm not so happy right now because I don't have the right wife or the right husband, or I don't have the right job, or I don't have enough money on my bank account, or maybe because I don't live at the right place, or in the right district, or I don't have the right job. If we think in this way, this is clearly a sign that we have no understanding at all of the nature of true existence, of cyclic existence, and we have no understanding of what does that mean, true suffering. What is the suffering nature? What do you mean by the suffering nature of existence? If we think that our happiness can be fixed by external situation, this is a clear indication that we have no understanding of what it means to be thrown into cyclic existence. Okay, so this is why the Buddha explained first the true suffering, because having understood the suffering, having object, because it is just it is not like a devilish way to look at existence. We are just looking existence exactly as the way it is, objectively, without superimposition, without filters. And we would say on Instagram, you see, is without filters. Yeah. So we would look at life, our experience, our daily experience, exactly as it is, and we will understand that it is pervaded by suffering. Okay, and then at this time we have to analyze and to ask question: does that suffering arise? Is that suffering is produced or unproduced? Is this suffering arise from condition, or does it arise randomly? So there is this type of investigation, and we are led to understand that the suffering arise due to causes and condition, which has the karma and afflictive emotion and affliction, karma and affliction. In particular, the queen of the mental affliction. The root of all the problem is this distortion of reality, this grasping at a true existence of oneself and all phenomena. Due to that grasping of true existence, then as the logical answer, you see, the mind, due to this particular way of perceiving and conceiving existence, then the logical answer is for the mind to develop attachment and aversion for what appears pleasant and unpleasant from its own side. Okay, and once those mental afflictions have arisen in the mind, then the being is led to accumulate non-virtuous action. All of these non-virtuous action that we have seen before, they are accumulated exclusively under the sway of attachment, aversion, or confusion. So if we eliminate ignorance, we will eliminate the mental affliction, the possibility of the mental affliction to arise in the mind, and therefore the contaminated karma will have no origin, will have no causes to be produced. Have no causes to be produced. So in this way, we come to understand, you see, true cessation. What is true cessation? What is nirvana? Because it is what we are talking about, true cessation. It is the complete pacification of the mind, where distortion of reality, the conception of true existence, and all the mental affliction that arise as the consequence of this distortion of reality have been completely uprooted from the mind. They have been completely uprooted. So the mind is completely free from this grasping after existence, and therefore from the possibility for the affliction to arise. And in this way, we understand the true path. What is the true path? It is the mind that directly opposes ignorance. It is the wisdom that understands that the referent object of the conception of true existence do not exist, has never existed, and will never exist. Basically, it is the mind that directly understands the mode of abidance of the mind, the mode of abidance of the person, the mode of abidance of all phenomena. He understood that they're all dependent arising, okay, in brief. So this is why, you see, the four truths are explained in this sequence. So we have two sets of two cause and effects. We have the true suffering and the true origin, which explain the experience and how we circle into the completely afflicted into the due to why, due to confusion we only experience suffering. And then there is the true cessation and the true path, which explain the emergence from the completely afflicted, the entrance, which is the entrance into the completely purified, okay, and the method for actualizing that. So we have two sets of causes, one that explain how we wander into the thoroughly afflicted and the completely contaminated, and we experience suffering, and another set that explain how we enter into the thoroughly purified side. Okay. So as we said, as Lama Tsong Khapa explained, the first thing is to contemplate true suffering. We have to contemplate true suffering in order to generate a mind that desire to emerge from those experiences. That's the reason why. It is not just to be depressed because Buddhists are depressed people, you see, or because they are masochistic, they just want to suffer. No. The scope is to generate like a disenchantment of cyclic existence. You see, we have you remember we've talked about the four conception that the four wrong conception, the four wrong superimposition that somehow rottens our life, rottens our experience, that makes our life miserable, and that makes our life a continuous experience of suffering and difficulties. So those four conceptions are to superimpose permanence where it is by nature impermanent, to superimpose happiness where it is by nature suffering, to superimpose purity where it is by nature impure, and to superimpose a self where it is by nature without a self. So here, you see, we are dealing with this superimposition of happiness. We think that life can be marvelous, that cyclic existence is a wonderful place, that there's so many interesting things and beautiful things to experience, that we can be happy if we have the right condition. And so we are going to deal with this, and for that we have to contemplate what is the real nature of those experiences, the real nature of those experiences. So in terms of the contemplation of a suffering, in the lam-rim, it is explained through various modalities, and there's various ways to do that. Asanga, he explains, he gives the definition of true suffering, and he says, what is true suffering? It is the environment and the sentient beings who inhabit this environment. That's it. I like this. It's very simple. It's straight to the point. See, what is suffering? It is the world and the inhabitants. That's it. He also described in the Bodhisattva level 108 type of suffering. So this text has been translated in English. You can take a look at it, Bodhisattva level by Asanga. And but in terms of all of this, they have been classified and subsumed into the suffering. And there is one collaboration which has the 6 types of suffering: general suffering of cyclic existence, 6 types, and suffering of human, 7 or 8 types, and also the classification in terms of the 3 types of suffering. So we have to become experts in those 6, 7 or 8, and 3. In particular, the 3. This is very important because it will cut, you see, all type of fantasy. We live at fantasy land, basically. We live in fantasy land. We are the mayor of fantasy land. And what does that mean, to live in fantasy land? It means that we live in our own projection of reality, what we imagine things could be, what we imagine things are. You see, we are not in contact with reality. And this is why we are always disappointed. We are always suffering. You see, we are always insatisfied because we do not engage reality. Not even the conventional reality we engage it properly. We engage it through those different superimposition. Yeah. So the main work, wisdom, what is wisdom? Wisdom, you see, is to generate a type of mind which opposes those superimposition, which realize, you see, that the object which is superimposed is a fantasy. Is a fantasy, basically. So if we go back to those division of suffering, we're gonna start quickly. So you see here you have the general suffering. The general suffering is that the first one is uncertainty. Okay, so if we go into the lam-rim literature, either the lam-rim Chenmo or the intermediate lam-rim of Lama Tsong Khapa, or even the Pabongka Rinpoche, see, you will find detailed explanation of how, of these different type of suffering. They are explained, and they have to be meditated, contemplated. And how do you contemplate suffering? You do not really observe suffering as something external. You have to contemplate, yet you are subject to such and such suffering in your life. In every day, you have to recognize those suffering being part of your experience. And you have to understand that this is happening since beginningless time. And unless you do not realize emptiness, unless you do not realize the nature of your mind, okay, there is no end to it. There is no end to it. So those meditation, they should lead you not to being depressed, but to be somehow, being depressed about cyclic existence is healthy. But mostly, you see, they have to transform into a desire to achieve liberation. This is how you have to guide your mind. The mind contemplates those things, you get completely disgusted by cyclic existence, and you generate this desire that I have to achieve liberation. And that is your object of meditation. See? You have to find all of these situations unbearable. So in terms of those 6 suffering, so the first is the suffering of uncertainty. What does that mean? It means that in cyclic existence, everything is uncertain. You're healthy in the morning, you can be unhealthy in the evening. You have friends, good relation. Next day, everything is uncertain. Next day, they can be your enemy. You're wealthy. This year you're wealthy. Next year you can be poor. Okay, everything is uncertain in cyclic existence. So that's briefly, you see, that's how you have to look at it. I'm trying to find. I have a note about this, but if you allow me. Yeah, it means like, yeah, okay, like close relatives. You see, they can be enemy in a next day. Says, or in next life, you know, there's no certainty. Your health, your wealth, your status, your position, your job, everything is uncertain. You think it is stable, but it is only a superimposition. Yeah. And then you have next one is the fault of being dissatisfied. Dissatisfied as the meaning of being insatiable. Insatiable. There's never enough. Whatever you experience, there's never enough. Whatever things you have, you always want the best. And when you get the best, then very quickly there is the next best. You see, there is something even shinier, even quicker, even more design, even faster. Okay, so there is always this impossibility to be satisfied and to be satiated. It is impossible. Okay, and then so this is very brief. I give you the headlines, and then there is the fault of repeatedly leaving your body again and again and again and again and again and again. Okay, so you like this body, you take care of it. Nevertheless, you have to give it up. And again, and it takes, of course, it is a suffering, and dying is an experience of suffering, and this happens again and again, and then again and again you have to take rebirth. You have to be thrown again and again in unknown environment, being surrounded by unknown people, doing with unknown perspective. Okay, so and being reborn means also experiencing the same suffering again and again, which are inherent to the condition, for example, of a human being. A human being has inherent suffering, for example, aging, sickness, death, etc. So this is inherent to life. Okay. Then you have the being repeatedly descending from high and low. So basically, cyclic existence is like a dot on a wheel. The wheel spin, so you go from high and low, high and low, high and low. So this experience, this life is high, next life is going to be low if we don't do anything. This is naturally. Okay, and also in terms of the life itself, in terms of the life, due to the causes and condition and the ripening of situation, you see, you can also in one life move from high to low and low to high and high to low, of course. And the sixth one is not having companion. Basically, you are born alone and you die alone. So whatever connection you establish in this life, they may be extremely dear to your heart. They have to be left behind. Okay, so you are born alone and you die alone and you move alone. So that's the sixth one, you see, and of course there's many other line of illustration to be contemplated, but and that will do for now. So please go and look into the lam-rim, Pabongka Rinpoche or Lama Tsong Khapa, great and middle lam-rim, if you want more detail. And then there is the suffering of the human beings, okay, which is the seven suffering of a human beings that particular to human. And Lama Tsong Khapa, he had the eighth one, okay, and the eighth one is important. So basically, you have the suffering of birth, okay, suffering of birth. Maybe you have this concept that birth is just a marvelous experience, like the miracle of life and everything, but actually it's a terrible experience. Okay, so you there's the pain in the womb. So you are like in this smelly substance for 9 months, constricted. Okay, then you just every time that the mother moves, you see it's like a earthquake for you, and so you are like in this. It's not very pleasant. Then there is the actual birth. You see the actual birth when you the mother give birth to you. You have constricted. It's like being constricted by two stones. You see, and then when for the first time the oxygen coming to your lung, it's completely like burning your lung. And actually, you see, you've never seen the first sound of a newborn being like happy and laughing. You know, it's just like yelling. It is all of this with big eyes. You see all of these big faces, red, and that is has no idea what's going on. And all of these experiences are extremely fearful. And then the skin, you see, is so delicate that even the most subtle, the most softest substance is like sandpaper, just like sandpaper. And you have no other means to communicate your discomfort or just to communicate what you want. There's just the yelling. There's no possibility to be understood. Just yelling and crying. So, and yeah, and you wouldn't be able to survive a few hours by yourself. Basically, that's what happened, okay? So being born, what does that mean, being born? It also means to be associated with dysfunctional tendencies. Yeah. So you come to this life with all the past karma. You come to this life with all the imprint of affliction, with the predominance, with a particular type of affliction and habit that we have, for example, anger, for example, attachment. And you come to this life, this means that having sense powers and therefore being in contact with object of the senses and therefore having the proliferation of the mental affliction and therefore suffering. Okay, so yeah, it is the basis. You see, the birth is the basis for all delusions, basically, and any change into death. If there is birth, there is death. If there is production, there is distraction. There is destruction. If there is meeting, there is separation. This is the two sides of the same coin, basically. Okay, and then there is aging. The next one is aging. So aging, we all know what it is. Aging. The loss of beauty, the loss of the strength, the loss of vitality, the loss of the sense power, of the mental clarity, okay, the loss of the lifespan, and finally loneliness. Again, this is what aging. So there is the deterioration of the body, okay, and the mental faculty. And then there is sickness. So sickness is we all know what it is also. Sickness is the loss of power and control over the function of the body, increasing unhappiness, the loss of the enjoyment. When you're sick, you see you don't get pleasure from anything. It's impossible, and you have to experience what you don't want to experience, and you have to rely on harsh therapy most of the time. You have to be opened up, and they open you, they cut you. You know, it's harsh therapy. And then finally you die, because basically you die from illness and you don't die from being in good health. Yeah, so this is the sickness. Okay, then death. Right? There is the suffering of death. Is the departing from your possession, departing from your friend, departing from everything that is dear to you, everything that is important to you, everything you have been worked for all your life, everything you've attached to. Okay. It is an experience of physical pain. It is a mental anguish, okay, and yeah, and it is going. It is the termination of this life, basically. So you're going toward the unknown. So the suffering of death is not really pleasant. And then you have the suffering. You have another suffering, which is the meeting. The meeting what let me see, encountering what is unpleasant. You always have to meet all our life. We only meet what we don't want to meet. It starts with Monday morning when the clock rings. It's just there's a meeting, the unpleasant there, just there. Okay, and then you go. You go to work, and there are people they have difficulty with criticism. There's difficulties. So always meeting the unpleasant situation, problems, personal in your personal life, in your private life, at your work. You see this in the environment, in your country when you live, where you live. There's always something happening which is unpleasant, again and again. And then you have separation from the pleasant. We are also separated from the present. Vacation finishes, separation, relationship, money finish. There is always separated. We are always separated from what we like. There is death. Anyway, there is death. Death is separation from what we like. So even if happens, you see, naturally, nevertheless, there is separation from what we don't like. And then we have also the suffering. If you give me 5 more minutes, okay, I finish this section. Okay, thank you. There is also not getting what you want. We never get what we want. For example, you don't succeed, in your study. You don't succeed in your endeavor. You don't succeed in your business. You don't succeed with your shop. You don't succeed in your relationship. You don't succeed in professionally. You see, there's always not getting what you want, or simply because you don't have the bank account that goes with what we want. Also, so there's always frustration. We always have to settle for the lower. You see, you have to settle for the lower. This is yeah, it's like this. Okay, and then finally, Lama Tsong Khapa had, you see, there are 7 in the list of the that we've shown before, that is extracted from Pabonka, and Lama Tsong Khapa had the suffering of having 5 aggregates. Because we have those 5 aggregates, then we have to experience all the rest. Simply, this body and mind, they are the vessel of the present suffering, and they also are the vessel for the future suffering. Okay, because on the basis of this body and mind, we always accumulate causes for future suffering. Because our mind is afflicted, because we have distortion of reality, because we have all of this affliction, then everything we do is the cause for cyclic existence, and most of the time is the cause for suffering in cyclic existence. So simply because we have this body, we have to die, we have to get sick, you have to get old, you have to meet the unpleasant, you have to develop afflictions, you have to be separated from what we have. Is the basis for everything, or for all the rest. You see, it is the vessel for what we call the suffering of suffering, the suffering of change, and the all-pervasive compounding suffering. Those 3, we keep it for next week. And so basically, you see, this, because we have this body and mind, it's not possible to be happy. It's just not possible. We don't have, right now, we don't have what it takes. This body is, you see, the temperature just have to fluctuate and we suffer. The temperature drop, we get sick. The temperature rise, we get uncomfortable. You get thirsty. You get cold. You get hot. You get thirsty. You get hungry. You get sick. You see, this is just based on this body. You always, bump somewhere. You always cut yourself. It is like it is by nature, by its nature, imperfect. It has dysfunctional tendencies. He has imperfect characteristics. You see, imperfect characteristics, and those imperfect characteristics, they are the basis for vast suffering. Vast suffering. It is just there. Just there. And then we have the mind. The mind is like just unbelievable. Our mind is very hard but it is very fragile. It is so fragile that just a mere vibration of the wind, like a word, see, a mere word, can just pierce your heart and make you suffer for weeks, for months. Just a word. Like you hear something you don't like, you suffer. You see something that you like, you suffer because you don't have it. And you will only get, you see, a peace once you acquire it. And then after, you're scared because you're going to lose it. And then after, anyway, it's gone, so you suffer. So you see, you have all of this mental affliction, all of this, you have like anger, attachment, pride, resentment, belligerence, hostility, so many, covetousness, jealousy, and all of this mental event. They just, they will just arise as soon as there is an external or sometimes even an internal trigger. Poof, they rise. You don't like someone, poof, you suffer in your mind. Sometimes we have so little control of our mind that sometimes the person does not even need to be there. You are alone in the comfort of your room, on your house, and you produce your own suffering, thinking about that person, how bad he is, he did me that, he behaved like this and like that, and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And then you suffer by yourself, by yourself. There's no one there. So you see, the mind is really something we have to put a lot of effort to pacify this mind, to control the conceptualization, we have to develop, to reformat the mind, because right now the mind produces only suffering. We have the body, and we cannot do much for the body except to cure it when he's sick, when he gets bad, But for the mind, we can do something. It's under our own power to control the mind, to change the outlook it has, to change how he perceives or he interact with the situation, in order for that mind to stop to produce suffering, but instead to produce happiness, because the mind can produce happiness. If we change our mode of thinking, then we can move from an unpleasant experience to a pleasant experience. Just because, as we've said at the beginning of those classes, that the conceptualization is associated with feeling. So if you conceptualize in a negative way, there is suffering there. Like when you think about something you don't like and you focus on, this person is bad, and blah, 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 and then you suffer. Yeah? But if you change, if you think differently, instead of thinking, that you're not lucky, that you're in this situation, that everything goes wrong in your life, and blah, 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 you have to learn to look the positive aspect of your life. You have to look the potential that you have. You have to feel fortunate for the situation you are in, because we are all very fortunate. Okay, we are not oppressed, for example, And also, we have to learn to look qualities in others and to understand that the manifestation of some negative behavior that some people have, that's just the manifestation of a deep mental suffering that they're experiencing, Anyway, so we will try to develop this next week. So now we are left with how many sessions? 2 or 3? This is what, number 4, number 5? This is number 5? Jeez, okay. Okay, so we'll develop that. Okay, no problem. Thank you. I'm sorry I was a little bit late. Okay, thank you very much for your patience and your attention. And yeah, I hope it was useful. As my teacher used to say, if it is useful, think of it and put it into practice. If it is not useful, then forget about it. If it doesn't make sense, just forget about it. Okay, thank you very much. We make dedication.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Many thanks.
Thank you. So we will dedicate also, for the world situation, this pandemic, for the pandemic quickly come to an end. We are dedicate also for all those people who have died due to this COVID situation. So may they have a good rebirth. You see, at least take a precious human rebirth, meet the perfect guru of the Mahayana, and progress along the path. We dedicate especially for India, okay, to receive all the help that she needs from the other countries, neighboring countries, and for quickly the situation to be overturned, okay. And for all the medical and the hospital and the staff in the hospital centers and everything, for them to be safe, for them to have strength, and to receive whatever they need, and successfully accomplish their task. Okay, thank you very much. So now we dedicate more generally.
Thank you. May the precious supreme bodhicitta not yet born arise. May that arisen not decline, but increase more and more. Samsara and nirvana lack even an atom of inherent existence, and cause and effect and dependent arising are unbetrayed. I seek your blessings to discern the meaning of Nagarjuna's thought that these two are mutually complementary and not contradictory.
Thank you very much, and see you next week. Okay.
Thank you.